Sri Gurubhyo Namaha, Sri Matre Namaha, Sri Vagdevyai Namaha. Vagartha viva sampriktau, Vagartha pratipattaye, Jagatah pitaro vande, Parvati parameshwarau. Shiva Shakti Samarambham, Bhaskara Madhyamam, Asmat Srinatha Paryantam, Vande Guru Paramparam. In this video, you will learn how to chant a Veda mantra. The concepts mentioned are applicable to all Vedic chanting. As we are starting to learn the most important Vedic portion of Sri Rudram, also called Shatarudriyam or Namakam, I thought that this video will be helpful for listeners and learners. The Yajurveda Samhita portion contains important Vedic mantras. In the center of this Samhita is found Sri Rudram. Also in the middle portion of Sri Rudram, we find the most important mantra called the Panchakshiri Mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. To get the benefits of chanting a mantra, correct ucharanam, that is correct recitation of mantras is important. If chanted without correct ucharanam, we do not get the benefit of chanting the mantras. Samhita portion of the Vedas are said to be ucharana pradhanam, meaning the importance is given to the way the mantras are chanted. For example, as mentioned before, the Panchakshiri Mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, means I bow to Lord Shiva. If you swap the words and say Om Namah Shivaya, instead of that you say Om Shivaya Namaha, it is the same meaning. But if you say Om Shivaya Namaha, does not become a mantra. It will, although the meaning is the same. How many ever times you meditate on this, you will not get the benefit of chanting the Panchakshiri Mantra. So you have to only chant Om Namah Shivaya. Thus, we cannot change any Veda mantra and we should chant it in the same way our rishis or sages have taught us. The correct ucharanam or recitation of Veda mantras needs to be elaborated. The science of ucharanam or pronunciation has 6 components. They are Varna, Swara, Matra, Balam, Sama and Santana. The Varna means the letters of the Sanskrit, which is the alphabets, are called Varna. It is very important to learn how to chant each letter. Varnakrama or science of letters gives detailed explanation of how a sound is produced, where a sound is produced, which part of the human body is used to produce each letter, etc. For our classes, I will give you a simple understanding of how Sanskrit Varnas or letters are arranged. We have 16 vowels, which are a, I, U, U, R, L, L, E, I, O, Au, Aha. So of the 16 letters, and we have 35 consonants. The 35 consonants, what I'm going to do for easier understanding is split these 35 consonants into first 25 consonants and then I will come back to the next 10 consonants. So these 25 consonants are grouped in fives. That is, each line or each row should contain 5 letters. So if you have the 5 rows, you will also have 5 columns, totally making it 25. So the concept of the row and column for this 25 is very important. Each group of the 5 has a unique name based on the first letter of the group. For example, the first consonant is Ka, then the second is Ka, then Ga, Gha, Nga. Because the first 5 groups, it starts with the letter Ka, it is also called kavarga. And in that kavarga, the sound comes from the throat. So it is called also kantya. The second row of 5 letters is called chavarga, and it starts with the letter cha, which is cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. The third row is tavarga and starts with ta. So the third row contains the 5 letters ta, tha, da, dha, na. And the fourth is tavarga. It starts with ta, tha, da, dha, then ta, tha, da, dha, na. The fifth row is pavarga and it is pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. So the first row, which we call kavarga, it is ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. You would have noticed it is produced from the throat, and this sound is produced when the back portion of the tongue meets the soft part of the palate, just above the throat. If you see just above the throat, you will have a very soft tissue, the soft palate. So the tongue meets the soft palate and the sound is actually coming from the throat. So it means that if you are having some problem in the throat, you will find it difficult to chant this ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. Then the 5 letters, chavarga letters, cha, cha, ja, jha, nya, are produced by the roof of the mouth. Just above the throat, you have the soft palate. After that, you have the hard part of the palate, which is actually between the throat and the nasal cavity. So whenever middle part of our tongue meets the hard palate, the sounds of 5 letters, which is cha, cha, ja, jha, nya, they are all produced. And it is also called talavya or talu in Sanskritam. The next 5 letters, ta, tha, da, dha, na, they are called murdhanya or the tavarga, and they contain ta, tha, da, dha, na. So the murdhanya sounds are produced by striking the roof of our mouth with the tip of our tongue. Like this, you have to bend your tongue in the upward. The tip should go up and then touch the roof of the mouth. And the next 5 are called the dantya or dental, which is ta, tha, da, dha, na. And these 5 letters are produced when the tongue meets the middle part of the teeth line. And the 5th group of consonants called pavarga is called oshtya or labial, where the letters pa, pha, ba, bha, ma, and the sound is produced by the meeting of the lips. Like you close, the lips are closed, pa, pha. So we cannot produce these sounds without the use of our lips. So you will notice that our tongue is relaxed when we produce the kavarga and the pavarga. And if you have any problem with any of these places, like example I mentioned, like if you have a throat problem, you cannot chant the kavarga. If you are not able to twist your tongue and hit the top of the roof of your mouth, you will find difficulty in saying ta, tha, da, dha, na. And if somebody does not have teeth, they cannot produce the ta, tha, da, dha, na, because they are all using the teeth, and the lips are used for the pavarga. So the next, here you have to understand one thing. In these 5 groups, how a sound is produced, and you can appreciate the beauty of the Sanskritam language. The beauty is the first kavarga is produced at the throat, and then the next you just come slightly upward, then the chavarga, then the middle part of your roof of the mouth, you come to the tavarga, then tavarga, the end of the mouth, which is the teeth, and then the finally lips. So if you draw our human body, you will see how each of the sounds are coming out. So that is important. Then we also have the semi-vowels ya, ra, la, va. and they are called antastha because they are in between. They are neither vowels fully or not nor consonants, so they are also called antastha. And we also have the three sibilants, which is sha, sha, and sa, called the ushmana because they are supposed to produce heat when we say that. And we also have the next three letters ha, then la, and ksha. And in the letter ha is classified as ushmana, but in the Maheshwara Sutra, it is classified with the semi-vowels because we have haya varat. Ha is also a kantya, just like a kavarga. So when you have to say ha, the sound of ha also comes through the throat. Then ksha is a conjunct consonant, which is the result of combining the letter ka and sha, that murdhanya sha. So if you combine ik and sha, you get ksha. So you have to pronounce the ksha. The correct pronunciation of each letter or varna is best learned by hearing and repeating the sound rather than analyzing the technical aspect of how each letter is uttered or sounded. Because we want to swim, unless you jump in the water, you will not, even if you read in the internet or where how to swim for 100 days, you cannot still swim unless somebody enters in the water. Here, for Vedas, you have to hear the sound and then try to just imitate and repeat. So this is the letters, and then we also have the vowels, which is a, I, u, r, l, e, I, o, aha, and the a, which is the vowel a, that one is a kantya. Then the one which is then we have the e. E is the tal. You use the talu when you say e, which is the talavya sound. So the e will be similar to the sounds of the chavarga. Then when you say r, it will be similar to the tavarga r, because ta, when you say ta, the tongue roof, the tip of the tongue hits the roof of your mouth. Same thing, r also the same thing. Then the l is the dantya or the dental, where it is similar to tatha dadhanna. Then ukara u is the where the lips have to be closed, like u. So if you see that the way our lips are used when you say u, so that is similar to the papha babhamma. So this is how structurally we have. Same thing, ha, although ha is at the end, it is combined with the ushmana with the sibilant like sha, sa, ha. The reason why it is as in the Maheshwara Sutra as haya varat is, again the structure is maintained. So ha is the from the throat, then ya is like the chavarga, then ya, ra is again what we mentioned, the murdhanya or the tavarga, ta, tha, da, dhanna. Then ya, ra, la, then the la is like the ta, tha, da, dhanna. Then ba is like the bu, because again the lips are used when we say the ba. And when we come to the sibilants, the first sha is pronounced in like the cha. So we have to use like the part of the mouth which is just above our throat for chanting the sha, like Shiva. Then the next sha, which is the next ushmana letter, sha, is you have to pronounce like the tavarga, tatha, dadhana. That is also a murdhanya. And then sa, like Saraswathi, is like a dental sound, like tatha, dadhana, where we use our teeth to pronounce. So this is the science of aksharas. Now we will come to the next. So there are 6 aspects I mentioned before, which is the varna. We just covered the varna, means the letters or the alphabets. We just covered it now. Then the next is varnaha. So this is actually given in the Taittiriya Upanishad because of the importance. Sriksham Vyaakhya Syamaha Varna Swaraha. So Varnaha we covered. Next is the Swaraha. So the Swara has there are different types of swaras, which is you have what we call the Udata, then the Anudata, and the Swarita. So the Udata, Anudata, Swarita is what Udata means. Actually, Udata is like a higher level, and then Anudata means the lower level, and then the Udata, Anudata, and Swarita means still higher than the Udata. So for our easier understanding, you can say that Udata, you can, although this, I gave the actual meaning, the Udata, Anudata, but for your learning, you can say Udata, when I say it's the middle level, then the Anudata will be the lower level, and the Swarita will be the upper level. So for example, when you say Ganana, so that where it goes, so the Swarita is there. And it is a double swarita. Ganana, Antva, Gana. So when everywhere, Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. So when you bring the Dra down, that is called the Anudata. And Om Namo Bhagavate. So when you say Te, that is the Swarita. So these are all how you will. These are these words I may be using in the classes. So you should understand what each of the swaras are chanted. So Varnaha, Swaraha. So those three. So the next third concept is Varna Swaraha Matra. So Matra means the length or the time taken to pronounce each letter. So normally, if you say one matra, is the time taken for one blink of the eye or one snap of the finger. So that is the one matra. So we have different, for a short vowel, we call it hrasva, which is one matra like this. Then the long vowels are called dirgha, or two matras. So that is the time you should take to pronounce that long one. For example, I, I. So A is short vowel hrasva, A long vowel. I is short vowel, E, that is the long vowel. So you should know the different ways of how we chant. Then in the Vedas, we also have something called Pluta, which is three matras, 1, 2, 3. So you have to extend it much more. Ha, ha. You would have noticed that in the Taittiriya Upanishad, in the third Prashna, in the Samagana, where you have the Pluta, where you have three matras. So we have covered Varnaha, Swaraha, then Matra. The fourth concept is called the Balam. Balam is the stresses given to particular letters in a word. An example is conjunct consonant pra and ksha are stressed in a word. However, words like Prithvi, Prakriti, Pr and Kr are not stressed but smooth flowing. So we should know where to stress, where we should not stress. So which is very important in Vedic chanting. So the balam, or how much effort you give to tell each letter, is very important. Then the next concept is called the Sama, which is the speed of chanting, and the correct speed is the medium speed, and all words is chanted in uniform speed. So that is very important. So Sama. Then the Santana is called the process of combining letters and words. The rules of combination of letters and words are to be followed while chanting Veda mantras. So in our classes, I will be using words like few words which are in Sanskritam. So I'm just wanting, I will just give some explanation of each of this, so that when I say that, you will know what I mean when in the classes. Hrasva is like a short vowel, like A, E, etc., with just one matra, one snap of the finger or one blink of the eye. Then the dirgha is long vowel like A, E, U, R, L, Ye, I, O, Au. So they are all long, where the matra should be like 2. Then I already explained the Pluta means the extra long vowel with 3 matras. Then we also have something called the hard consonant or aghosha consonant. So now you have to go back to how I mentioned the 5s, the 5 times 5, where we had the 5 rows and the 5 columns. And I already explained the 5 rows, right? The first row is the Kavarga, Karka, Gaganga, then the Chavarga, Chacha, Jajanya, Tatha, Dadhanna, then the 4th row, Tatha, Dadhanna, then the 5th row, Papha, Babha, Ma. So now you have the rows. Now, like a matrix, you have to come to the columns. So the first 2 columns of this group of 25, they are called the hot consonant or aghosha consonant. So here, like ka, then ka, cha, cha, then ta, tha, then ta, tha, pa, pa. So these are all in the first 2 columns, and they are hot consonants, and they are called the aghosha consonant. Then the next 2, which are soft consonants, like, are the ghosha consonant, which is ga, gha, ja, jha, da, dha, da, dha, then ba, bha. So these are all in the 3rd and 4th column of the group of the 5 by 5 matrix of consonants. And then the 5th is we have the anunasika or the nasal consonants, which is na, nya, na, na, then ma. So they are all, you have to use, when you pronounce, you have to get a nasal sound. So the sound comes not just from the mouth, but from also through your nose. So they are all so now you know the 5 columns also. And there is another here, one is called the alpa prana. So I'll be using this. So alpa prana means no effort to expel the air when pronouncing the letter. So in our the 5 by 5 matrix, the first and the 3rd column, the column letters, like for example, ka, cha, ta, ta, and pa, and ga, then ja, da, then da, ba. They are all called alpa prana. So you don't give any special effort to expel the air, and that it is called the alpa prana. Then the next, the other 2nd and the 4th column, where you say kha, gha, cha, jha, tha, dha, tha, dha, pa, bha. They are all called Mahaprana, where you are going to give more, let the air out. So when you are lettering, so you have to give much more air and give more pressure. So when you do that with much effort, that is why it is called the Mahaprana. So this also I will be using what is the Alpa Prana and the Mahaprana. Then the Anunasika sound is the last column, which I already explained. Then you also, the swarams, when I say Udatam, it is the highest swara. When I say Anudatam, it is the lower swara. And Swaritam means the swara which is the higher than Udatam. So that is why I said that Udatam you should consider as the middle, then Anudatam lower, and Swaritam up, so that it is just for easier understanding. So the different intonations like Udatam, Anudatam, Swaritam, they are called swaras. So when I say swara, it has 2 meanings. So this swara, the Vedic swara, where you are going up and down the intonation, that is also called swara. The vowels of the letters, they are also called swara. And when I want to refer to consonants, I may say Vyanjana. Vyanjana means consonants starting from ka to ksha. And then there are 2 things which I have not covered, which is the Anuswara, the letter which is represented by a dot above a letter or akshara, that is Anuswara. And Visarga, which means letting out or getting it away. So the Visarjaniya means just letting something out from our body. So that Visarga is represented by 2 dots similar to a colon. I hope this science of pronunciation is useful. I would want every student of those who are learning the Vedas from our channel, make sure that you you understand this particular video, and then also when you are learning, make sure that you will chant. For example, in my class video, if I am chanting say 3 times, you should make sure that you have to listen the first time, and the second and third time you have to chant along with me. You should chant loud. Then only you will be able to master. And this is learning the Vedas. You have to do it in the utmost sincerity with commitment, because as I already previously mentioned at the beginning, chanting without the proper swaras, or how our sages were chanting, we may not get the intended benefit of chanting the Vedas. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha, Sri Matre Namaha.